Hey guys, what's going on? So it is March 29th, Wednesday, New Comic Book Day, and I have my new haul here of 15 different titles with 16 total. So kicking it off, we have White. So last week, number 3 came out. This is number 4. I think number 3 was delayed, so they caught up with number 4. So having these back to back is great. So this has got to be like one of the best shark stories I've ever read. I mean, that last issue, it was like watching the most thrilling movie ever. I mean, I was just on, the seat of the, edge of the seat, waiting to see what happens next. This artist and writer, they really have this going on this comic here. I really thought that having just a solo girl in the middle of the ocean, reading the solicit, I didn't really think it was going to be able to hold my attention, but man, they have done a great job on this storyline so far. So yeah, if you're into sharks, I highly suggest you go get White. Now, I really hope they make this into a movie. This would be great. So continuing on the the great white shark genre, we have Hookjaw. I do prefer White over Hookjaw, but Hookjaw is great in and of itself. This one has the different aspect with Hookjaw. Obviously, there's more people involved, but the main shark, Hookjaw, he actually has some text. This is really from both the human and the shark perspective. If you could see here, anything that has this scratch font is what the shark is talking about. But yeah, it's pretty cool because you see how the shark is kind of evolving as the storyline kind of continues on. You see, like, at first, human flesh was wrong for him when he took a bite of a human. He could tell it was wrong, but since there's so much human fodder kind of falling off his boat, he's starting to adapt and enjoy the human flesh. So yeah, another great exciting shark story. I would suggest White over Hookjaw if you're going to choose one or the other, but both are great. So next up we have The Visitor, How and Why He Stayed. This is number 2 of a miniseries. So I do not read Hellboy. I've only seen the movies. And number 1 came in one of my monthly subscriptions. Sorry, I can't recall if it was Comic Boxer or Blind Comics. But, I didn't think that I would enjoy it, but I read through number 1, and just knowing, Hellboy from the movies, man, I don't know why I enjoyed it so much, but I don't know, that really moved me. I don't even know who this alien is in the Hellboy realm. But that first issue got me, so I'm going to see what's up with this number 2 issue to see if I want to continue on number 3, 4, 5 on this miniseries. But yeah, surprised I enjoyed number 1. Okay, so next up we have Generation Zero, and of course about a couple, I think like issue number 6, I think everyone thought this was an ongoing series, and they said no, it's just a 9-part miniseries. So anyways, I picked up my cover A for my collection. I'm going to be reading through cover B for the spec box. But yeah, so just this past weekend I was able to go through all the Harbinger titles in trade paperback. So I fully understand now who Generation Zero is. They're like Harada's competing Chinese company who was competing for to have harbingers as tools, for these corporations. And so they created their own, younger children team. They completely treated them like crap. They kind of toted them around the world doing these missions, and they're kind of like Suicide Squad to, they have, I can't recall if it was a collar or some implant in their head, basically do what we tell you to do or else we're going to kill you. So it's a straight up Suicide Squad, but they were like, captured as younger kids and kind of forced into this. So, I started feeling for them more, since I know what their history is here. So, I'm actually going to go back and read 1 through 7 before I read number 8. Now that I have the back history, I really want to, see what all I missed. I know all the characters now, so yeah. Really suggest this if you're looking for like a New Mutant type of team. This is it. So, number 2 of The Old Guard by Rucka, and man, this one, this one really did it for me on that issue number 1. The artwork is there for me. I typically choose more detail when it's a superhero, and this artwork really captures me. The color palette that was utilized, it's kind of like a Moonshine type of, Cannibal type of palette feel to it. So yeah, that number one, I was, kind of curious to see, if they were indestructible like Superman. Come to find out they're kind of like an instantaneous healing factors, similar to a Wolverine Deadpool. But, I mean, they showed like, half of their head getting blown off. And in the very next frame, they're totally fine. So it's like an instantaneous healing factor. So this group has been around for a long time, like thousands of years. They are basically immortals. They haven't gotten into their back history to see like how they got their powers or why. But this one really captured me. Of course, I like anything that's like superhero, like mutant type related. So yeah, this one hit it, man. So great storyline, great dialogue thus far. So yeah, so just pick up Old Guard. I think the second print, number one, came out this week as well. Okay, so next up we have Moonshine by Brian Azzarello. So this has been pretty exciting. Again, I don't really like Prohibition genre too much, but this one had a good mix of everything. It has your your werewolf kind of mixed into the drama that's happening between this gang and up in New York and them sourcing their moonshine down in the South. So yeah, so the main character got kind of involved with the daughter, I think, of the farmer, and that's, where the werewolf kind of comes in and storyline's kind of evolving. I recall the last issue wasn't that thrilling. I don't think too much happened. I got to kind of go back and see where it left off. But yeah, it's been pretty exciting so far, but yeah, we'll see where this one goes. Okay, so next up by Titan Studios, we have Night Guardians of Relativity. And, I think I've said in previous videos, they're kind of like a little Jedi force, a force of good people who were kind of, you don't know how the society kind of built, but they're there. This is in the future. They're there to protect a device that has the capability to alter reality. So they're kind of like a Jedi council to maintain law and order, make sure that this device never gets put into the wrong hands. One of these agents, like the Jedi, were kind of murdered, and this is kind of like a fact-finding mission to see, why were they murdered, what happened. So this has been pretty exciting so far. I think this is number 3, I believe. Yep. So 1 and 2 have been pretty exciting. Good storyline, good build-up. You're looking to see where this one kind of takes the storyline here. But yeah, been pretty exciting so far. Night Guardians of Relativity. Okay, so I have been highly anticipating this one. So, I recently fell in love with Space Ghost. They went back and did his origin storyline. I'm reading the, not Futurama, but the Future Quest that has Space Ghost as well. I love Green Lantern, so this is one of those crossovers I was highly anticipating. So I've enjoyed all the Green Lantern crossovers, like with Star Trek, some of those other titles that were out there. So I'm hoping that this one meets my expectations. I don't think I'm setting him too high, and this kind of has some of the artwork that similar feel to that last Space Ghost that came out here recently. I think that was 2014. So yeah, looking really forward to seeing how they kind of mesh together. Who they're going to be fighting. See if Jan and Jace kind of pops in. So yeah, Green Lantern, Space Ghost. Okay, so next up we have Stalinverse Divinity 3. This is issue number 4. This has been pretty exciting. Again, I've been talking about Valiant a lot, but I read through a lot of Valiant this past weekend. I have Divinity 1 and 2 on order, so I haven't read through those two. I'm aware of the storyline just from the synopsis that are on the YouTube videos. But yeah, this has been pretty exciting so far. I actually read through XMen War as well, so I actually have his, Eric's background. I know what, how he actually became XMen War and things of that nature. Now at this point in time, so yeah, having a better, firmer grasp on the character's background, really, I have a higher respect for the current titles that are out there on the shelves today. So yeah, if you haven't picked it up, if you haven't checked out Valiant, I highly suggest it. Man, they got it going on. Okay, I think this is the only other Hanna-Barbera crossover. I think there was like 2 more that came out, but this is the other one I picked up. I'm not into Adam Strange too much, but I do enjoy Future Quest so far. So yeah, looking to see how everything kind of meshes together. This will be a little standalone storyline. I'll see if I want to continue on this little mini-series they have here or not. I'll make my decision after I read number 1. But yeah, really enjoy everything out by Hanna-Barbera out right now. So yeah. Okay, next up we have The Rift. This is number 3 of 4. So this has been pretty exciting so far. You know, the number 1 didn't have as much storyline as what I would have liked, but number 2 picked up a little bit more. So, you know, I really enjoy anything with like parallel universes, you know, multiple worlds, the multiverse, you know, things of that nature. So this was kind of like a time rift that's out there, to where a World War II pilot came back into current modern day, and you see the government is aware that these rifts kind of happen throughout time all over the place. They're kind of, you know, they have a response team for it. Some of the storyline, I don't know, man. I don't know if this is realistic. I don't know if it would have gone the way that they're kind of writing it here, you know, in reality. But yeah, you know, anything with time travel, things of that nature, I'm always interested in. So, you know, I'd like to see how they tie this one up. Okay, next up we have Justice League of America. You know, I really enjoy this one so far. I know a lot of people don't really like this one so far, but you know, I think this really has everything that I was looking for originally when I went through Justice League Rebirth. You know, I realized that there are a lot of B-rated characters, but those one-shots that were put out there before this this number 1 came out for this series, that really got me connected to the characters. And you know, by issue 1, they kind of had their dialogue with each other, got their communication down, and you know, you kind of see how they're going to be kind of working together, you know, going forward with Batman kind of at the reins. And of course, this is going to tie into everything. You know, why is Batman getting the secondary team going? You know, along with the Justice League. I guess there's an explanation out there now, but I think there's something deeper. You know, so anyways. For those of you who have not picked it up due to not liking Justice League, I would suggest to give this one a shot. You know, I would say read the one-shots before you get to Justice League. I think there's 3 one-shots. But yeah, you know, I enjoy it so far. So next up we have Avengers, and this is 5.1. And again, this is where Wanda, Pietro, and Hawkeye kind of form, you know, join the Avengers here with Captain America taking lead, of course. So this has been pretty exciting. I think they changed up the artwork a little bit here. I think they may have changed the artist here, but pretty exciting dialogue that's occurring. Of course, you know all the characters here, and this kind of gives you like a little bit more insight to how they kind of started gelling together at the very beginning. So yeah, pretty interesting so far. I actually enjoy this one more than the current Avengers title. Okay, so next up we have Dark Knight 3 Master Race. This is book 8. I think this is 8 of 9. So I only have about 4 of these of the series. I was going to actually pick this up and trade. I picked this one up because I actually got to pick up one of the store retailer incentives. I can't recall if this is like cover C or D. But anyways, I've been kind of thumbed through, kind of followed, you know, kind of skimmed over some of the issues that I did have. This storyline does seem interesting. Again, I'm going to pick it up and trade for sure when this finally comes out. I'm sure they're going to put this in hardcover at the beginning. But yeah, this has been pretty interesting so far. I think Frank Miller, I think both, I don't know how much I think he may have done some of the artwork in this. But anyways, interesting storyline so far. If you're a Batman fan, I would suggest this one. I don't think this one is too popular. I don't see too many people picking this one up at the stores that I go to. So anyways, yeah. Okay, up last we have X-Men Prime. And, you know, after all these years, I'm going to jump back into the X-Men world. So, you know, I followed a couple of the crossovers, of course, you know, starting with the Death of X. Which went into X-Men versus Inhumans. But so starting with X-Men Prime, which is then going to go to X-Men Gold and Blue, I'm going to pick up those titles as well, and this is going to be me kind of jumping back into the X-Men world. So, you know, I've been following along the storylines, you know, really on YouTube more than anything else, you know, just kind of following the mutant race. You know, I'm aware of everything that happens, I just haven't been really picking it up in single issues. So here we go. I'm hoping that, that this one does impress me, you know, after taking like 2 decades off from collecting X-Men. So, you know, I'm going to read this one open-minded. Of course, I know pretty much all the characters. I know the background, even the newer characters that they're, I guess, the younger characters introduced into this Marvel world here. But yeah, so hoping that this one really impresses me and jumps off into some good X-Men Blue and Gold after this. So yeah, that's going to be it for this week's new haul. Should you like what you see here, please like and subscribe, and we'll talk to you later.